I played in Magic the Gathering's $150,000 30th anniversary tournament. The top 8 gets a seat to open Magic's oldest cards in a real beta booster draft worth a combined $150,000. Let's take a look at the action.
I think Nikachu needs to get a big board, and he needs to have things that counter rhinos. And now that you have the Hex Catcher, it's very easy to counter rhinos.
I start the game off playing Silvergill Adept, which when it enters the battlefield I draw a card. You see, the deck I'm playing for this tournament is Merfolk, my grandpa's deck.
Merfolk? It's a tricky deck. No single creature is powerful, but as a team, it can overtake any obstacle. The deck has no tutors, no card selection. You're at the mercy of the top of your deck. And for that, a Merfolk player has to believe in the heart of the Magic cards. Basically, it's a deck for noobs.
We see a third land here, shocking for Nicholas, so now he can make rhinos.
Yeah, main
Is it going to be a Shardless Agent? No, Violent Outburst now. Not worried about Force of Negation.
My opponent responds with the Magic card, Violent Outburst, a cascade spell that removes cards from the top of the deck from the game, until they reveal a card that is less than the 3 mana of the Violent Outburst. And there's only one card in the deck that costs less than 3 mana, and that's Crashing Footfalls, a card with no mana cost. My opponent is playing the deck to beat, the Modern Rhinos deck. Because when Footfalls is cast, it puts 2 4/4 trampling rhinos into play, which completely outclass my small Merfolk. And for the next few turns, I get beaten down, 8 damage at a time by these relentless rhinos.
Because the big thing is that the Rhinos player might just not cast a game, might not even have to cast a spell this game. Okay, Fury, boop boop.
Oh great, just when I think I can muster a comeback, Nicholas plays the most devastating mythic rare card, the red elemental named Fury. When it comes into play, it can deal 4 damage divided as my opponent chooses to my creatures. Creature decks haven't been the same since the printing of Fury. It was the death nail for the humans deck, the spirits deck, elves, goblins, death and taxes. And now it comes for my Merfolk deck, as I lose game 1. They say I'm a third-rate player playing a fourth-rate deck, but what they don't know is that Merfolk is used to swimming upstream.
Honestly, you could expect 11 cards coming in? I don't think that.
In game 2, I start the game off with Merfolk's signature artifact card, the Ether Vial, a card that will help me cheat my Merfolk into play, fast enough to race and surprise my opponent.
And what do you cut then?
Dismember. You can cut Dismember, Merfolk Trickster.
On turn 2, I play Cavernous Souls, naming Merfolk. I again play a Silvergill Adept, this time drawing Lord of Atlantis, the perfect card to race these rhinos. Your move, Nicholas.
A way to really make your threat count higher and not rely only on those rhinos. Especially if you do it on curve, right? Turn 2 Sign of Drake or turn 3 rhinos. Okay, Binding for 1 mana.
My opponent takes their turn to play Leyline Binding, a 6 mana card, but it costs 1 less for each land type you control. And my opponent actually has all 5 land types in play, so it only costs 1 mana. When it enters the battlefield, it removes from the game a non-land permanent, which in this case is my Ether Vial. It looks like we have to play our Magic cards the old-fashioned way.
Well, that changes the dynamic quite a bit, because Nikachu can only deploy 1 Lord a turn. Okay, so you got the 2 damage of Nicholas for free. I can see a Fury, double Fire Ice. Yeah,
Honestly,
Hex
this
Catcher.
feels like almost a loss for Nikachu.
My opponent plays a land and passes. That's when I flash in the Magic card, Vodelian Hexcatcher, a very special Merfolk which can be played instantly. It increases the power and toughness of my Merfolk by +1/+1. but is a huge pain for the Rhinos deck, because I can sacrifice my Merfolk to counter non-creature spells unless my opponent pays 1. Non-creature spells like Crashing Footfalls, the centerpiece of my opponent's deck. Nicholas cannot let this Merfolk survive.
Oh, that's the Hexcatcher.
He can
So
now
now you can
respond
just
with.
ping.
That's one way to do it, and also he's got Violent Outburst, so he can just cascade in response.
Nicholas plans to fry my fish with fire, which divides 2 damage between my Silvergill Adept and my Hexcatcher, threatening to kill them both and then leaving me nothing left to defend myself versus this combo deck.
But when the Hexcatcher dies, it becomes an X1 again, so the 1 damage will kill it. So now he's sacking the Adept. Wow, sacking Mutavault. Love that.
I activate my Hexcatcher's ability, sacrificing the Silvergill Adept. Nicholas pays the 1. But my Hexcatcher isn't going down so easily, as I activate my land, the Mutavault. It turns into a 2/2 creature with all creature types. And that's right, it includes Merfolk. I sacrifice it to protect my Vidalian Hexcatcher. I might be down a game in this duel, but this match is only getting started.
But we do see a Fury and another Fire Ice for Nicholas, so this, while it's a desperation play in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he plays only 1 spell a turn, and Nicholas either will multi-spell or play just much better spells every turn. And no, at the end of the day, you've got a 2-mana 1/1 now.
I attack for 1 with my Hexcatcher, and at the end of my opponent's next turn, I attempt to play another one, which gets killed off by another fire. But that means I still have a Hexcatcher, and as long as a Hexcatcher is in play, using a Cascade spell like Violent Outburst into Crashing Footfalls is useless.
Dead on that immediately,
Yeah,
and
you
still
have
hold
to.
up Dispute. I mean, phew,
Need to kill it. Oh wow,
All right.
not gonna kill it.
I would have killed it. Just to be sure, you never know what they have.
On my turn, I summon the magic card Master of the Pearl Trident, which gives all other Merfolk I control +1/+1, which threaten to end this match in a few short turns, thanks largely to all the damage my opponent has already taken from their own lands.
There's no way he's gonna dispute it, right? He's thinking about Deadcon, I would assume.
But it turns out my opponent was completely expecting me to play that card, as they respond with Mystical Dispute to counter my Master of the Pearl Trident. But aren't we forgetting something? I played my Master of the Pearl Trident with my special rare land, the Cavern of Souls naming Merfolk. That means my Merfolk spells cast with Cavern of Souls can't be countered, and your Mystical Dispute does nothing. But my opponent has a backup plan, playing dead on my Vidalian Hexcatcher. And with the Hexcatcher off the board, that means Nicholas is finally free to play a Cascade spell and get the Rhinos in play.
Here we go. Untap. I mean, you just Fury and win. Oh, can't. I mean, it's still game over.
There is another Fire Ice, so you could Fire Ice. Oh, it doesn't matter. I mean, it kind of almost doesn't matter.
I summon the Lord of Atlantis, which, like Master of the Pearl Trident, gives all my other Merfolk +1/+1. Together, they would both be 3/3 creatures. So another fire burns down my Master of the Pearl Trident.
Here we go.
Now, unfortunately for Nikachu, he's still single spelling. Oh, is that a lot? Okay, so he can just hard cast Fury, go down to 7.
Slam this Fury. Get rid of this Lord.
Yeah, once you've just shocked in.
Boom. Dead.
Oh no, not again. It's Fury. It wipes my Lord of Atlantis off the face of this earth. But that's not all. Fury has double strike, which means it attacks for double the damage each turn. And I don't even have anything in play anymore.
Okay, so a land off the top. Go Silvergill into... Okay, Silvergill into Lords and maybe squeeze in some damage. I mean, this could unironically... No, turn the tide. Pun intended. Yep. Nicholas doesn't have any removal.
I draw a land! And with 4 lands in play, I take my turn playing both Silvergill Adept and a Lord of Atlantis. But I'm gonna need a lot more than that to compete with this mythic rare card.
Okay, so you should Violent Outburst now, because it pumps the Fury and makes it 8 damage, right? Yes, that's what he's gonna do.
Oh no! Nicholas is preparing the signature move of his deck with Violent Outburst, cascading cards from the top of the deck until Crashing Footfalls puts an unstoppable wall of rhinos back into play.
For those wondering about why would you bring in Mystical Dispute against Merfolk, easy. You're worried about things like Force of Negation, Subtlety, their own disputes.
And with that wall safeguarding his life total, I'm attacked for 8 double strike damage because Fury got buffed up by Violent Outburst. But now it's my turn, and there must be some way to get myself out of this.
Things that can't be caverned. Sure, Subtlety can be caverned, but it's not a Merfolk, so it's unlikely to be caverned. There are many cards that you can dispute from Nikachu. It's a respectable board in my opinion.
And on top of all of that you've said, Nikachu won't always have like double cavern, for example.
I think this is going to be lethal, though.
Yeah, this is exactly my point.
I play another Silvergill Adept into another Lord of Atlantis, growing my attacking creatures for exactly 7 damage, the same life total as my opponent.
Wow.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 Exacxes. You can't block. It has Island Walk.
Nicholas tries to block, but it's about time that we learn Lord of Atlantis' second ability. Lord of Atlantis gives all other Merfolk Island Walk. What that means is if the opponent controls an island, my Merfolk are unblockable. And remember, Nicholas, on turn 2, you fetched out a Steam Vents to reduce the cost of your Leyline binding. And Steam Vents is technically an island, playing into my hands the entire game. And now it's time to face the wrath of my Merfolk army. But this game isn't over just yet. Nicholas has 1 card left in hand, and now he's forced to use it.
Block. It has Island Walk. Can't block. Dead.
No way he won this game.
Unless...
Oh,
Leyline's
what a
binding!
rip. What a rip.
No! It's another Leyline binding! It exiles my attacking Lord of Atlantis, simultaneously shrinking my Silvergill Adept that only gets in for 3 damage, putting Nicholas down to 4, which is just as low as my subscriber ratio.
Okay. Wow. So now he takes 3, goes to 4.
I was so excited for Nikachu there.
So
But then
need
he
a
doesn't.
removal spell.
Yeah, he doesn't die on the backswing, so that's fine.
Okay.
Attack with everybody.
Okay.
Yeah, 8 comes in.
So here's the thing, with a Lord of Atlantis in play, I'm threatening to attack for 6 unblockable damage with my Silvergill Adepts. So it's time to go Leroy Jenkins style and go all in. But I've been saving my life points for exactly this moment. I only chump block the Fury and take the 8 damage, leaving 5 power worth of creatures for a counterattack.
4.
What have you got? Land. Dead.
Oh, dead. Nice.
And Nicholas has no follow-up play, and I tie the match. But this is the final game, and the winner of this wins the entire duel, and continues their journey to the $150,000 beta booster draft final table.
Troll decks, which just play Zagoth Triumph. Bam, bindings in.
My opponent starts the game off suspending a Crashing Footfalls. You see, you can cheat this card into the game with a Cascade spell, or you can play it the old-fashioned way by paying its suspend cost. Crashing Footfalls gets suspended with 4 counters, and each turn 1 counter gets removed. So in 4 turns when the last suspend counter gets removed, my opponent can play the Crashing Footfalls for 2 4/4 rhinos. It's only the first turn of the game, and my time is already running out.
It's an epitome of what Merfolk is. Double land, everything else was a load. Oh, that was a very good pickup.
I start my turn with a Curse Catcher, a small 1/1 Merfolk that can be sacrificed to counter an instant or sorcery unless my opponent pays 1. But it's going to be no match for the Rhinos card on Suspend because Nicholas will be able to pay for it easily.
Because he at least has a 1-drop to play, but everything else, just 2 drops. Oh, another Rhinos, okay.
Nicholas isn't making this duel easy and plays another Crashing Footfalls on Suspend. This is theoretically a total of 16 power if both these cards resolve.
Double load. Turn 4. Okay. Sack in.
Okay. Go. Crashing Footfalls, both tick down. See a Charlotte's Agent and a Violent Outburst. You're gonna get to the point where you run out of Rhinos in your deck.
Yeah. When I was playing like very interactive decks against Rhinos, the game sometimes really came down to actually them playing all of them. He's missing a land drop.
Okay. Hex
I
Catch
think-
on the instep.
I think he's missing a land drop.
Yeah, he is missing a land drop, but I don't think it's the end of the world.
At end of turn, I try to put up some resistance with Vodalian Hexcatcher. Maybe if I can sacrifice my entire board, I can counter one of those Footfalls. But my plan got stopped dead in its tracks, and now my Hexcatcher is gone. And now, with my opponent at a healthy 18 life, and me facing 2 Crashing Footfalls coming off Suspend over the next few turns, and with no answers in hand, I'm doomed!
Remember, you have to believe in the hearts of the Magic Cards.
My grandpa is right. But what could I possibly draw to get me out of this mess? Still, I have to believe in the heart of the Magic Cards.
I mean, you have the 2 Rhinos on Suspend.
Oh, right! I forgot about that card. I attack for 1 with my Curse Catcher, but it's only a small taste of what I have in store for you this turn, Nicholas. As I cast the magic card, Chalice of the Void. Whenever a player casts a spell with converted mana cost equal to the number of charge counters on Chalice of the Void, counter that spell. And I choose to cast Chalice of the Void for 0 charge counters. And if we pay close attention to your Rhinos cards, they don't even have a mana cost. That means their converted mana cost is 0. So when the time comes when your Crashing Footfalls are cast, they will instantly be countered. Nicholas, you tried to play your cards for free, but today it's time for free to pay the price. Your move.
No, you don't have another Curse Catcher. You just have Trickster, Hexcatcher, and Master of the Pearl Trident, I think.
Yeah, there's a Fire Eyes drawn, a Draco, Leyline Binding as well.
You need to ice now. You have to ice now so that you can try and Binding at minimum on your upkeep. You have to ice.
Okay,
In my opinion, I would ice there to draw land to try and Binding on the Chalice on the upkeep.
My opponent takes their turn and has no play, so I flash in a 2/2 Merfolk Trickster.
Footfalls.
Okay, never mind. Nothing of this happened. He just cleanly played a flash creature, untapped. He drew a Mutavault.
Or wait, can you pay 2 for Binding? No.
So, interestingly, Nikachu did not play a Lord, which he could have played, probably playing around Fury. Because he's got Master of Pearl Trident. He could have played it. He just opted out against it. Okay, so there is an island. But still, this Chalice.
This is rough.
I flash in the Vodalian Hexcatcher. But little did I know, that was exactly what my opponent was expecting. Nicholas was ready with fire, pinging 1 damage to the Hexcatcher and my Curse Catcher. But the Hexcatcher, it must survive. So I sacrifice Curse Catcher and my Merfolk Trickster to Hexcatcher's ability to protect it.
Cheeky.
Yeah, I think he just won a bash.
Yeah, animate
14,
Mutavault bash.
Mutavault. Yeah. So that's 6 damage.
And on my turn, I reunite my Hexcatcher with its oldest friend, the Master of the Pearl Trident. Remember, they're both lords that buff my team by +1/+1. I activate my Mutavault, and with their combined strength, I attack in for 6 damage. I sense this duel is coming to an end.
Go to 8. Yeah, I like this a lot.
Yeah, now this is being countered. Uncastable Leyline, uncastable Cascades. Oh my god.
This is gonna be a fetch shock here from Nicholas.
Yeah, I think he wants to fetch shock for white. And then he has got binding, but
My opponent fetches for an untapped Sacred Foundry, going down to 5 life. This is quite the risky play at this stage of the game, so it better pay off.
I think Nikachu might be stealing this match, and that's unbelievable. Very tight play. Draco?
Nicholas plays the Scion of Draco. It's a 12-mana dragon, but it has Domain. This spell costs 2 less for each basic land type among lands you control. And Nicholas has all 5, so it only costs 2 mana. But remember, my Master of the Pearl Trident gives all my other creatures Island Walk, and that same island, which helped discount that Scion of Draco, will also make my Merfolk unblockable. What's my opponent's plan?
But everything else is unblockable. Isn't it lethal already? I think it's lethal already. Oh, but there is the ley line. Okay, Pip. Animate Mutavault.
But I know what my plan is. It's to win, as I summon another Master of the Pearl Trident. I activate my Mutavault and attack along with my Vidalian Hexcatcher. And Nicholas, since you have an island, you cannot block my Merfolk with your Scion of Draco.
Try to attempt to kill you.
But my opponent has one more final move. It's Leyline Binding, targeting one of my masters. But if we do the math, that's still not good enough. With the support of my Master of the Pearl Trident and Hexcatcher, I'm still attacking for 6 unblockable damage. And you're at 5 life. You see, the magic of Merfolk is that they support one another. Like a team, they're stronger together. Something a Rhino deck hell-bent on brute force power would never understand. And with that, against all the removal spells, all the furies, and all the powerful cards, I win the match. But there's still a long road ahead to the $150,000 final table.